What it? Scooby Doo Wop Dooby Wop, I wanna love you. What it, Scooby? Welcome back to After the Snap. I'm your host, Tasha Pierce. This is Sunday. So I guess that means we are going to stream a few things. To stream something Sunday. We stream a series on any streaming service, recap. And this week's recaps are Hawkeye, Star Trek Discovery, and The Wheel of Time. Those are our three shows that we have been following. Um, there's a segment that I do called What You Watching, which I'm going to find out what else we should be streaming. Um, what are you watching? So that's a segment. And then we also do a segment on I guess we might finish up this Jeopardy game that we started yesterday. Um, yeah, so we might be in for a fun ride. Hopefully, you guys are having an enjoyable Sunday. If you are, please feel free to let me know down in the comments exactly what it is that has made your Sunday spectacular. Because hell, Sundays are they got to be spectacular. What it do, Ms. Taylor? Miss Taylor is in the house. Miss Taylor made me jack up one of my eyebrows. I had to I had to do surgery on my eyebrow. So good to see you. Good to see you. So yeah, it's a it's a good week for TV and movies and streaming. Man, this was a good week. Uh can't beat it. Like some of the if I can get my water open here, some of the shows that we watched were so freaking good. I'm excited to talk about them. Thank you so much. Even though, yeah, you know that eyebrow, one of them ain't right, and I bet you can figure out which one ain't right. So yeah, um, we got these three shows to cover. We got a little time to do it, so I'm going to, without further ado, get started. Even though I don't have much of an audience. I just got you today, Bungie. I don't even have nobody on the other places. We gonna see if we get some trickle down economics up in this thing where we get a few more people to join us. Yeah, crazy ass day. And I say crazy because yesterday, well, I'll say the day before yesterday. We'll start there. The day before yesterday was Friday. Friday, we had beautiful weather here in Houston. We air conditioner weather. You got to have the AC on to even be comfortable. And then Saturday morning, shit hit the fan. Shit literally hit the fan. We got this really big rainstorm that came through, and it came through with some cold air. So now, yesterday during the day, it was like, okay, it's bearable. But overnight, we went from one day having the flipping air conditioner on to yesterday, I had to turn on the heat. The heat is still on. I might could turn it off now. I'm really being picky about I don't want to be cold. But I could probably really turn it off. But that's how crazy the weather is. It just went from one extreme to the next. Gosh. And I'm hearing that it's happening everywhere. So this is not exclusive by any means to Houston. But we're going to go ahead and get started. And we're going to start with Hawkeye again this week. That seemed to work well last week. I think I think that was a good way to start, especially since uh this episode of Hawkeye was it was exposition heavy, but it was fantastic in some of course, the reveals, and also just giving us a glimpse. This is like a Christmas episode, but it's giving us a glimpse of the horrors that that can be part and parcel of being mixed up with a flipping Black Widow chasing you down, flipping tracksuits with Maya, and Clint just want to get home for Christmas. So we're going to just go ahead and jump things off with Hawkeye. So now, our synopsis for this episode is that a fallout nearly derails Hawkeye and Kate's partnership, but a shocking discovery changes everything. And yes, the discoveries were rather shocking. They were rather shocking. Now, we started off with a flashback to 2018, and that's when Yelena and one of her other former Black Widows, they were trying to deprogram a friend of theirs named Anna. So they had a little fight. It kind of put me in the mind of the fight scene in Kill Bill when Vivica Fox and the bride were having a fight in that kitchen. That's what it made me think about. So Yelena and her partner find out that Anna is no longer brainwashed. Anna is just uh, doing what she's used to doing to get paid. She's working as a hired assassin for somebody. And I wonder who the somebody that this friend is working for is. But yeah, so we start off, we see Yelena back in her Black Widow attire, the attire that she had on in the movie Black Widow. And yeah, we get this whole fight, and then we get Yelena and her friends figuring out who is the person that's doing all this hiring of these assassins. But anywho, Yelena has to go to the bathroom. This is when things got just crazy to me. Yelena goes in the bathroom and she's standing over the sink to rinse her face. And at this moment, we know that somewhere in the MCU universe, Thanos was snapping right at that moment because we watched Yelena dissolve the same way we watched all of the other Marvel heroes turn to dust. So she was one of the dusted. She was dusted in the blip. Uh, then we watch her come back together. That was disorienting and crazy. She came back together 5 years later, and it felt like seconds to her. And one of the trippiest things about this whole thing was that, from her perspective, it seemed so horrifying. She came back together, and then she watched the room evolve around her after the snap. So in the eyes of the victim, everything just seems to happen in seconds. And the reality that we're in becomes her reality when we watch that room change over. I thought that was a dope scene in this show. So while this is going on with Yelena, we got Kate. She is feeling really dejected. And she goes home to kind of cry on her mama's shoulder. Her mom was waiting for her. She cried on her shoulder. It seemed like Eleanor was comforting her daughter. But what it really seemed like also to be on the flip side of, while she's comforting her daughter and the words could just be mistaken for just pure comfort, it also seemed to have like this underlying meaning, everything that this lady said. So she was saying, you'll still be able to do what you want to do. It just might not be in the way that you want to do it, which makes me continue to believe that Eleanor is manipulating Kate. She wants Kate to be basically a weapon for her and her criminal organization. And another thing that happens is Jack is arrested. So we watch the police take Jack out in handcuffs, and now Kate is comforting her mom. But I don't think her mom need much comfort. Yeah, I think her mom knew exactly what was going on. When Kate told her mother that, hey, this Salon Limited that you're working with, that's one of your clients, yeah, Jack is over that, and he is also part of this criminal organization. So now Eleanor didn't seem surprised at all. But we also see that we also see that that Jack is taken in. He says, "What it do, Reinhardt?" Jack is taken in, and he says, "Hey, this is a big old misunderstanding. I'll be back before before the Christmas party. You'll watch and see. Wait, because I don't know why these people. The only Sloan I know is this lady I used to kick it with back in the day, and she wasn't even nothing that important. So we got that understanding, and I'm telling you, this continues to feed into my theory that Jack don't have no clue. Jack is a patsy. I stand by the assessment. Hey there, Clarence. I stand by my assessment that he has absolutely no clue what's going on. He inherited Sloan Limited from Armand, his uncle, and he might not even know that he owns this business because his uncle passed away. And when he passed away, everything transferred over into Jack's name because Jack was the heir. Now I know that Eleanor knows this. Eleanor knows exactly what the heck is going on. I think Jack is being used by Jack is being used by Eleanor. He's a means to an end. And for that matter, just like Kate. Kate is a means to an end for her mother as well. In my opinion, we're gonna find out next week how close I am to reading the room. But I think that's a safe bet that Jack has no clue, none whatsoever, none. All Jack do, he just likes swords. I just want to collect swords and have this beautiful woman, whereas Eleanor is looking at it as how she can come up in this situation. So now, after her mom's pep talk, Kate goes back to her apartment, try to pick up a few things, and to her surprise, who's waiting for her? Yelena. Yelena is there, chilling. And this part when oh no, we are disagreeing, Mr. Clarence. We're disagreeing because I don't think Jack had the uncle killed. I think Eleanor did. So I don't think Jack has a clue what's going on. I really don't. But we'll come back around to some more of the comments. I just always seem to see Clarence's comment right out. Oh, she had the uncle killed. I got you. We right here. I always catch his comments out of the corner of my eye though. Like I can't see shit else, but I can see Claire's comments. um, so Yelena is there. Yelena, when Kate felt a presence in the room and she slung that bottle of sriracha sauce, Kate catches it. She's like, "Hi," like she's supposed to be there. So she's in there cooking. She like Goldilocks, all up in somebody else's house cooking. I'm surprised she wasn't laying around in the bed waiting. Yeah. So they have this girls' night scene, but it was the creepiest girls' night scene because everything that Yelena was saying was like a double entendre. She always, I don't want to say it was completely ominous thinking, but everything that lady said seemed really ominous. It was like veiled threats. And Kate Kate got it. Kate understood. She is kind of like nasty nice. You know how people say that somebody is nasty, but they're nice as well. They do it in a nice way. That was Yelena. Um, Florence Pugh, that flat tone, that dry humor. I'm resonating more and more with that character, and she's like, she wants to share this macaroni that she came into this girl's house and cooked. She wants to share it with her. So she's like, "Are you hungry? That fight was so long," and so many more of those quick zingers that she put out. Um, so yeah, long story short, Yelena tells Kate that she is not here to talk to Clint. She's there to kill him, and she's killing him because that's the reason that Natasha is no longer with her. So yeah, I thought that was cool. I thought it was a good scene for what's her name? Florence Pugh. Now the big revelation though is that Valentina, the last we understood, Valentina sent Yelena to kill Clint. And we assumed, I think it's safe to say that most of us assumed it was something that Yelena wanted done. Um, we get this understanding. I always catch your comments, I tell you. We get the understanding that it might not have been Yelena. I mean, it might not have been Val who wanted Yelena to kill Clint. Somebody else put the hit out. And of course, we get that reveal at the end of the episode. But Val doesn't have a personal stake in Clint's dying, except for she wants to get paid. So anyway, before Yelena takes the window out, she kind of tells Kate tells you need to figure out who is having you go after Clint, because there's got to be a reason, because Clint's a good dude. Clint's a good dude. He's done some bad things, but he's a good guy. Okay. It doesn't look like, of course, Yelena is taking anything that Kate says in, but I think she has just a small sliver of respect for Kate. She likes her. She could have came in. She could have killed Kate coming in the door, or she could have extracted this information about where Clint is with violence. She didn't do those things. What she did was talk to her and gave her a warning. I need you to stay out of my way. The next time I come after him, don't get in the way. Because the last time I saved you, I just moved you out of my way. But the next time, my understanding of the way Yelena said it was, don't get in my way, because the next time you won't be that lucky. Because again, while Kate is a pretty darn good hand-to-hand fighter, she ain't got nothing on Yelena. At any moment, Yelena could have killed her. So we see that these two might have connected somehow or the other. Then we see Clint. He figures out what the heck is really going on. We got a Black Widow. We got Maya in the tracksuits trying to kill me. I need to close out this Ronin stuff. I got to keep Kate Bishop safe. And now I find out that Maya has been looking into my family. And even though Laura, his wife, said, oh, we're hidden, he was like, no, she knows where y'all are. When she's looking into you, that means he's got to make some tough decisions. And Laura was like, you don't need my permission, but do what you got to do. Keep our family safe and get your ass home for Christmas. That's really it. I'm going to pick up comments because I don't want them to pile up on me so much. Clarence said, Pugh is great. I get her now. And you know what? I forgot something else too. I forgot to put the spoiler thing up here. So here we are. Okay. Now, Clarence said, Pugh is great. I get her now. I didn't really in the Widow movie. I think the dryness of the character, because she really didn't have a childhood. She's not a funny bitch. So I think that, I think she's handling the character okay. And Reinhardt also said Florence Pugh is so amazing in that role. Down the road from now, I definitely see Kate and Yelena working together, especially after their start. It mirrored the start of Clint and Natasha. Their meeting, the shot was there. Kate didn't take it. There was opportunities for Yelena to kill Kate. She did not do that. So I see the parallels, and I tell you, the parallels make it obvious that they are going to have a Hawkeye Black Widow relationship, Kate and Yelena. And I look forward to seeing that the groundwork laid for that a little bit more, because it looks dope that their start is the exact same way that Natasha and Clint started. But anyway, Jeremy Renner handled this scene at this memorial site from the Battle of New York. And he went to have a conversation with his friend. He shut the whole world out because he took that hearing aid out. Once the hearing aid come out, I'm like the entire world. They're the only person in the world to Clint at that moment was Natasha. Of course, she's no longer there, but he had that one-on-one conversation with her, and I thought it was beautiful. He had that remorseful, fearful voice, and I thought, dang, Jeremy Renner is nailing this. He's nailing it. Again, a lot of exposition this episode, but I think it was done in such a way that it didn't make it super boring, long-winded, and all of that. Then we had this whole comic relief segment with a couple of the tracksuits, and they talked about the Sopranos because Tony Soprano wore a tracksuit, and the Royal Tenenbaums because they wore a tracksuit. In the meantime, we're listening to the Run DMC Christmas song, and of course, they are famous for their tracksuits. So it was all Run DMC and festivities until these idiots come face to face with the messenger arrow of one Hawkeye. So Hawkeye sends a message, tell Maya to meet me where she first met Ronan. Let's do that tonight. And he gave the time, and I forgot the time. He said, tell her to show up alone. Of course, anytime you ask somebody to come alone, you know they're not going to come alone. They're just not. So our next segment to me, the next segment that I'm going to talk about, the next segment to me was like, we just going to drop a horror movie in the middle of this one little action episode. We're about to drop horror elements right in the middle. Now, I felt some kind of way when Yelena got dusted and returned, the way how trippy that looked. But this thing that happens next at the Fat Man's Used Cars, which, we had all these hints sitting around telling us, that we are on the right track on some things. But this scene at Fat Man Used Cars at night was like, they dropped a horror movie right in the middle of this episode. I'm gonna pick up Reinhardt's 2 comments here. I'm going to say this. I think every one of these Netflix, not the net, you said the Netflix shows have been awesome. I say that because I'm not comparing them to each other. They're all their own thing. I'm going to keep listening to you guys, but you got through cooking. Yeah, I think you might have been talking about the Disney Plus episodes, but yeah, they're their own entities, and I like them too. So we got the horror elements, and Ronan invisibly picks off all of the tracksuits one by one by one, and then you see Maya standing and waiting for him to arrive, but we know that Maya cannot hear that Clint is somewhere around. So when she looks up and finds that all of her backup is gone, that moment makes her like the damsel in distress in a horror movie. I thought it was done so well. And then just the first time that we get a load of Ronan, we come up from the sword, and then we see him cloaked, looking like fake ass Batman. Now, the fight that happened after this, when Ronan was fighting Maya, I have yet to see Maya really use the powers that we know that she is supposed to have. Again, like Reinhardt pointed out to us a couple of weeks ago, her ability to mimic other people's fighting styles is supposed to be a thing that is organic to her. It's not something that she is gifted in any other way besides her own instincts. I've not seen her use that to any. Uh, I didn't see her use it to any effect in this episode. Of course, she could have picked Clint off towards the end, but then Kate once again foils Maya by striking an arrow. She didn't hit Kate with this arrow, but she did save Clint with the arrow. Um, so here, eventually, Clint is taking his mask off, and he tells Maya, I'm gonna take this mask off. Maya said, so you can look at me while you kill me. He like, no, because I mean, honestly, if he wanted Maya dead, she would have been dead. He reveals that the big guy, Maya's boss, is the one who sent him to kill her father. Now, Maya don't seem to believe him. She goes for the attack. This is when Kate fires off that arrow, and it allowed everybody to get away. Maya went her way. Clint and Kate went the other way, and then Kate, of course, has gotten her exits because Clint already told her it's not about your entrance. There's a lot of ways to get into a place, but usually when the chaos starts, there's only one way to get out. So you really need to be plotting your exit. I think Kate took that to heart because she had an Uber waiting for them after this fight. So now, Yelena, of course, I don't have a picture. I don't know why. I had the right picture. I don't know why I don't have the right picture up right now. Anywho, Yelena is following Eleanor through the city. Now, I was thinking, what the heck is she going to do to Eleanor? But at first, you think she's doing it because she's trying to get Kate's attention. Like, yeah, I'm following your mama. You're going to have to tell me what I want to know, where Clint and all of this stuff. But that ain't it. It seems like she did take Kate's advice and she wanted to figure out who really hired her. And this led Kate, as she followed Eleanor, to a building. Now, Kate looks up at the building. I mean, not Kate. I'm sorry, Yelena. Yelena looks up at the building. We don't get to see what she sees, but obviously she sees enough to make her understand that, number one, Eleanor is the person that hired her, and that number two, Eleanor is not working alone. And this was the moment that, I guess, if the internet was going to break because of this episode, this would have been the part where it happened. The person who hired Yelena to kill Clint is Eleanor. And you can't even let that sink in for the moment, because we all screaming victory. We know that Eleanor was in some way a bad guy in this whole thing. But then we find out that she is meeting with the big bad of this episode, and that was Wilson Fisk, also known as Kingpin, as played by Vincent D'Onofrio, and everybody's happy. Everybody got it because it meant it meant that Kingpin is part of this MCU universe, and that we might have hope for some of the other characters from the Netflix shows. So I was excited. And now we know why everybody is afraid, as you can see down here, because I always forget to give my ratings. I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars, only because it was so exposition heavy. And I'm still waiting to see us use Maya in the way that we understand her to be able to be used, unless they're going to go an entirely different direction with the character than what we saw in the comic books. So 4 out of 5 for me. I'm going to listen. I'm going to pick up comments. Reinhardt said it was Mephisto was in the picture with Kate's mom. I wouldn't be surprised if he did turn out somehow to be Mephisto. And then Clarence said, I think Yelena has enough loyalty to her sister to find out the truth before she kills her friend. And that's what makes me wonder, like, it seems like so many people knew exactly, like regular ass civilians knew exactly what happened to Natasha Romanoff, what her sacrifice was for the rest of the world for them to get the soul stone. It seemed like a lot of people knew that. So why did Yelena, why did she seem to not get the fact that Clint didn't kill Natasha? Clint didn't sacrifice Natasha. Natasha sacrificed herself. Natasha made that big decision. How is it that that part of the story never got to Kate? That was a problem. Well, that's a question. I won't call it a problem. That's a question that I had coming up out of this thing. So tell me, what was y'all thoughts on this episode? And do we have any theories on how this thing is going to wrap up? Because I'm I don't have a clue. I don't know how they can tie a neat bow around this whole thing. Uh we've introduced Kingpin. Only thing that I can see is Kate being taken down, but I mean not Kate. Why do I keep getting these females' names mixed up? Only thing I can think of is Eleanor being taken down. But I mean, will that be a satisfactory ending? Is there hope that this thing ends in a satisfactory way? Because I'm a little afraid. I'm a little afraid. Clarence, he gave it a little bit more than I did. He got a 4.2 out of 5. And I probably would have did a 4.5, but I don't know how to make a half a star on this thing. So couldn't give it a 4.5. I did like this episode. I thought it was solid, although exposition heavy, but I think the exposition was something that was necessary. I think we got a little feel for every character and for all of these female characters, because really that was who the spotlight was on. And every time I see Grills, man, I get a little sad inside because I'm like, please no, because if in the comic books, it might not turn out good for my boy. Said KP is probably being set up for the Echo series. Kingpin. Okay. For the Echo series. There are also people who are theorizing that he might play a role in either Secret Invasion or Armor Wars. I'm interested to see where they use him next besides Echo, because he has such a close relationship with Maya Lopez. I would think that, of course, we'll see him there. But what else are we going to do with this character? Please don't have him in Echo and kill him off or something crazy like that. Claire said the snap scenes have been some of his favorite moments. Yes, I really wish I had the patience to sit down and just put all of those scenes together so we could see just how trippy it looked. The one from Monica Rambeau, of course, that looked trippy because she was just sitting there asleep and she woke up to a start as she was rematerializing. But this one with Yelena, you realize just how quickly it seemed to have happened for them. She's washing her face 1 minute, the next minute she's the next second she's dusting, the next second she's rematerializing. This thing happened in like a matter of 10, 15 seconds for them. But then to come back and everything around them is different. It's got to be that right there is a psychological horror type things. So I saw 2 beats of horror in this episode. The scene at the car lot with Ronan, and then the scene with Yelena when she dusted and returned. Reinhardt said, okay, I'm going to drop the ribs and cornbread for a minute. Val is Effexor is the middleman, and she knows that Elena wouldn't just kill somebody for money who maybe was a good person. So she had to some kind of story. Um, yeah. Now, I part of it I didn't get, Reinhardt. Part of it I'm not understanding, but I do. I will say that Val is playing a middle woman in this situation, and I'm wondering if she's doing this whole is she doing the whole Dark Avengers thing uh at the behest of the Kingpin. I guess only time will tell here. Clarence said, with the addition of that other character from a recent movie, we may see a team up in the Echo series. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, once we saw that character that you're speaking of, I was like, okay, we got all of the pieces on our chessboard now. Let's go. Let's go. Reinhardt said, I love that when she got dusted, that was as good as the Monica Rambeau coming back. Yeah, man, ribs and cornbread does sound good. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, what is going to happen when I get off of here today? What am I going to eat? I don't know if I want ribs, but a little brisket, little cornbread, little pintos. I ain't never met a pinto I don't like. So, yeah, that all sounds great. Okay, now Reinhardt is giving me some more context here. Sorry, I feel Val came up with some kind of story to convince Yelena to carry out this mission. Yeah, remember when at the end of Black Widow, she told her, "You want to take care of the person who got your sister killed." That's all the reason she needed. Hey there, Dreamwalker. You came in just in time. I'm about to go over to Star Trek Discovery because, man, your theory might be holding some water. Yeah, the very next episode we start seeing things that might substantiate Dreamwalker's theory that I shared with you guys last week. So yeah, you guys feel free to talk a little bit more about Hawkeye. I'll pick up all those comments, but I'm also going to give you your chance to shine here by asking you what you're watching. So let's let y'all get y'all minds right to what you watching. All right. So if you got something new that you're watching that you think would be good for the rest of us to watch, go ahead and like those comments up. I want to know what it is that you guys think would be worth our stream. I don't have anything this week. I don't have anything except for the stuff that we're already watching. We are already watching Hawkeye. We're already watching The Wheel of Time. Whew. And we're already watching Star Trek Discovery. So those are my three suggestions. Let me know what you guys think we should be watching. I see we got some comments. Oh, you're off work now anyway. It's a winter break. Oh, you're a math tutor. Oh, you're okay. Well, I'm glad that you will be able to hang out with us for a little while tonight. You had 2 students today, and that's done. Free all day now, and you don't have anything new that you're watching since last week. That's fine. If anybody else has anything new, feel free to put it in the comments. While I start setting up for our next segment here. I'm gonna set up, and you guys are going to tell me what you're watching. Clarence is watching The Expanse, per usual. Oh yeah. Now, Reinhardt, you are speaking my whole entire language. Because while we don't always agree on what kind of chicken is good around here, we do know that pintos and cornbread. I mean, how can you go wrong with pintos and cornbread? Then you got some coleslaw. You got my entire. I could eat the sides and be happy. I could just eat sides, but I kind of want some brisket. So I might get me some brisket and some pintos and some cornbread if I can get my son to bless me with a meal today. Now, Lysandra said nothing for me. I did have a movie until I got to the end. It was like, nope. Don't you hate when you get all the way to the end of a movie and then it turns out that movie is kind of boo boo? That bothers me. Like, why would you wait till we get to the end of this thing? Could have showed me your boo boo hand right out the front, out of the gate, so I know that this is something that I don't have to watch. Um, Claire said, question, is it just me or does Amazon have some very questionable movies? I'm shocked by what I find on there sometimes. I'm gonna need you to expound because both of them, Amazon and Netflix, they got some crazy stuff. Like it's just like we got some stuff here just to say we got some stuff here, and somebody is gonna watch it and get some enjoyment out of it, but most people are not. So I feel you on those two streaming services. They don't have anything locked down, and I guess it's because for a long time they was just getting stuff from anywhere. But I really believe that yeah, both of them just weird stuff, just really weird stuff. And I don't mind it all the time. But yeah, sometimes it can be a little, yeah, that gets a little funky. Did the boys have a third season? Not yet. They haven't released it yet. Um, and I'm pretty upset about that. My son and I were just talking about the boys yesterday. Like, I can't wait. I'm almost as excited. I'm almost as excited for the boys as I was for Spider-Man No Way Home. And I'm not exaggerating. Don't think that I'm exaggerating. When the boys come on, I haven't been doing the episode by episode, but now that we're doing Stream Something Sunday, and even though that stuff on the boys gets a little raunchy, we got to talk about it. We have to discuss it. Oh, Dreamwalker said he and his mom both watch The Boys, so it's something to talk about. Yes, yes. I'm the same way with my son. My son and I sit and watch all kinds of crazy stuff together. But The Boys was one thing. I watched it, and then I told my son he didn't want to watch it. I was like, okay, do me this then. We're gonna sit here together anyway. Watch one episode, and if you don't like it, we don't have to watch no more. We did the same thing with Invincible. Like I told him, just watch one episode. But he has learned that when I say that, trust me. When I say just watch one episode, and if you don't like it, we don't have to watch it no more. And then me and him both, we ended up with Invincible. That's one thing one of our date nights that we do. And Hawkeye is a date night, but The Boys is going to be a date night. Yes. Lysandra says she was asking the same question, not about the boys, right, but about the movies on Amazon. And it's just weird stuff. I'm gonna have to, I go there and I guess I'm very particular about what I'm looking for when I go to Amazon. The only time they really got me was with that Harlem. They got me, but most of the time I know what I'm looking for. I just go there to watch what I'm looking for. Now y'all gonna make me just roulette and pick a movie and see what kind of foolishness I can get myself into. Dreamwalker said he hasn't gotten his mom to watch New Trek. Last time she was watching Trekkie, she was watching Enterprise. And yeah, a lot of us didn't give the new stuff a chance. And I get it. Going into a whole new, what feels like a whole new world. But yeah, this week's episode was fantastic. Lysandra said it's the black movies. I'd be like, why? But see, I was talking about that yesterday. Like so many, I don't want to pigeonhole all these black directors, but so many of our directors put out a formulaic movie. It's either like a marriage type we're cheating, or somebody cheating and somebody doing this, or some drugs involved, or it's a whole lot of I don't like that a lot of the movies they just putting them out just because people are just looking for content with people who look like them. you know we got to be better. I think Spike Lee has done some great things. I think Antoine Fuqua has done some great things. I think Ava DuVernay is doing good things. Shonda Rhimes is doing good things. Uh, Shonda Rhimes. Speaking of which, there is a movie that she is, I don't know if she's producing, about Anna Delvey, and I don't know how many of you are familiar with the case of this chick. She was a fake heiress back in New York, in like just maybe 10 years ago, 5 to 10 years ago. I can't remember the year, but yeah, this chick, young girl, come in New York, tell everybody she's an heiress, and just scamming everybody, people that she considered friends, 4-star, 5-star hotels, banks. And I'm like, I can't understand how that happens, but that is something that's coming on Netflix, and it is something that I would tell you to watch. It was based on a book called My Friend Anna. And when I was doing True Crime Podcast, I did an episode about it. That's something that I think you should keep your eyes on. Now, Clarence did say the original stuff is good, though. And yeah, I've come into a lot of Amazon originals. It seems like they they've given it a lot more care than Netflix did at first with their originals. Even in the beginning, the Netflix originals was like, we're just going to put a movie out. It's going to be something for people to watch. We don't care what this movie is like, but now it seems like they're putting a whole lot of more effort into making sure they put out quality content. Now, Lysandra, you said the Christmas movies were not good. Um, Dreamwalker said that sounds interesting. It reminds me of a Reddit. I think the Reddit was called "Act Like You Belong," and that was Anna. She just she put on the entitled front so well that people just took her at her word that she was who she said she was. Oh yeah, Lysandra said that she would have a list of Christmas movies by now. Yeah. So you're saying that they're not good. There's a podcast that I listen to. Oh gosh, I wish I could remember the name of it right this second. But Business Wars, and in the episode, it talks about the competition between businesses that are similar. So of course they've done Sony Xbox, they've done and then also you can add Nintendo and all of that in there. They did that, and they did different airlines. They did well. I'm saying that because they did the Hallmark Channel and the Lifetime Movie Network, how they are battling over Christmas content. They did 5 episodes about it. And let me tell you, it's very interesting. I did not know uh, that for them, this time of year is huge business. And they are really battling one another to have the best locations, to have the best actors, to have the best stories for Christmas, just for this little short window, because they make most of their money this time of year. Didn't know it, but it was a very eye-opening listen. It's called Business Wars, and it was like those last 5 episodes were covering the Hallmark Channel and the Lifetime Movie Network, and Hulu snuck in on them uh, to make the battle a little bit harder. So that might be something that you would be interested in, just knowing the business behind those Christmas movies. It was pretty good. So now that we've gotten out of the way, a lot of our what we watching, and of course you can continue to keep those coming. I'm not tripping. We're gonna move into the examples from Star Trek Discovery. So our synopsis for this episode was: Burnham and Book race to evacuate a group of stranded colonists in the anomaly's path. as one of the Federation's brightest scientists comes aboard the U.S.S. Discovery to do high stakes research with Saru and Stamets. So we are moving into spoilers for um, Star Trek Discovery, episode 5 of season 4, The Examples. Man, just right off the bat, let me tell you, I loved this episode. Absolutely. Thought it was fantastic. One of the questions that I asked prior to this season even starting is Tig Notaro's Reno uh, wasn't wasn't able to record with any of her other co-stars, any of the other people. And I was like, we're about to find out what Tig Notaro is made out of. I wonder if we're going to be able to tell that she didn't have anybody to play off of when she was delivering her lines. And she did an outstanding job. I would have never thought that she wasn't in the room when these lines were being delivered. That she had no other co-star in the room with her. Would have never thought it. So now, this thing starts with a new revelation about the dark matter anomaly, and that is that thing just it disappears whenever it wants to. It moves, it comes and goes with a level of like it's being controlled. So because the DMA is moving around and now it has this small colony in its path, we know that Book. Let me slow my ass down. We don't know how the DMA is being controlled like it is, but now it is it has moved again. It's got a colony in its path. Burnham is sent by Vance to rescue the colonists along with a few other ships. But before I move on, because I forgot, at the beginning we heard about the U.S.S. Janeway. We saw some Navarre vessels that looked like the ones that I had a extensive conversation with Jonathan from discussing Trek, because I was not aware that all of these Navarre or Vulcan Navarre vessels were like that. So yeah, he did some teaching to me on that. But yeah, we got to see I guess the future again of the USS Janeway and of these Navaran ships. I thought that was cool. Uh, so we don't know if this anomaly is on autopilot, if somebody is driving it, whatever, if it's old and it's just been floating out in space after the people who sent it there died. We don't know, but it definitely has some type of some level of being controlled. Let me see. Now, Admiral Vance ruled out some Iconians, and he ruled out the Q continuum. He ruled out the Metrons and the Nassim. So he's like, we know it ain't them. I don't know how he knows that it's not them, except for that the Q hadn't been heard from in 600 years. So shout out to Picard, because we know that the Q will be seen in that episode. I mean, in that season. But anywho, so Vance says, "Hey, I want you to work with the top scientist of the Federation, and yeah, we're gonna send him. He's a Rysian scientist." Now, when he starts talking about this scientist, Stamets already knew who he was talking about. Uh, I felt some kind of way about Stamets, because I was like, okay, you jumped like 900 years into the future. What makes you think that you're going to still be the smartest person in the room? Now, I understand that Stamets gave, what is his name? Ruan Tarka. Stamets gave Ruan Tarka all of his data and all of his research, especially stuff about the spore drive. But to be quite honest, science continues to progress. Whether we're here to see it progress or not, science continues to progress. So 900 years in the future, Stamets shouldn't even be close to being one of the smartest people in the room. You get what I'm saying? But so that was just a problem that I had. It goes neither here nor there. It's going nowhere. uh, let me see. Now, Ruan Tarka, he comes aboard Discovery, and then he comes aboard, and we start to immediately see facets of his personality where he was like, I feel like I'm walking onto an antique. I mean, really, Ruan, you just got here. Then he tells Saru, yeah, you guys do got strange feet. Really, Ruan? And he was like, he said to Stamets, I've checked, I was impressed by your work, and I'm going to improve upon it, basically. So he is not lacking confidence at all. He doesn't need pep talks. Ruan Tarka is very confident, almost to arrogance. But I also think that he might be slightly misunderstood because he just says what's on his mind. He said he doesn't have a filter, and that ain't always a good thing. Some people think not having a filter is a compliment. It is not all the time. You need to understand that sometimes, adults have filters. Ruan Tarka, not so much. I'm going to pick up some more comments before I move on to the next slide. Clarence said, wow, I didn't notice that either. Great job, Tig. Exactly. Dreamwalker says that he doesn't remember the Metrons in Star Trek. Oops. The Metrons was like a consortium of individuals. They were encountered by the original series in the with Kirk. Is it Kirk, McCoy, Spock? Yeah, they oh shit. Yeah, they encountered them. I'm sorry. I got sidetracked. You said you also remember the Iconians. Reinhardt said he loved the name drop of those races from past Star Trek series. Yeah, there's bound to be a lot more educated people. Yeah, Dreamwalker is commenting about, how how does how is Stamets still pulling off being the smartest person in the room? I can see how it makes him feel. Tarka has a 900-year head start, right? Dreamwalker says, but I could say as a mathematician that there are many things first proven in math in the 1700s that 99% of people today wouldn't understand. Clarence is agreeing. Yeah, I can agree because it's a whole lot of stuff that I don't. What is it? The Fibonacci sequence. Now, of course, I love it, and I do have a rudimentary understanding, but there are so many things like natural math that I don't get. I want to get it. I understand the concept behind it, but I don't get it. Reinhardt said the actor who played Ruan Tarka was also on The Expanse, right, Clarence? And he was awesome. Can't say no more. Clarence said, yeah, Dreamwalker, same with chips in tech. There are select few that truly understand the full scope of that. Reinhardt said the Metrons are the ones that forced Kirk and the Gorn to fight each other, and they told them that in 1,000 years or so, maybe humanity will have evolved. But newsflash, they were wrong on that. So we're gonna continue to. Oh, let me move that. We're gonna continue talking about Tarka Ruan. I like him. I like the character. I'm torn on whose side, or does he have ulterior motives? It seems like he does, but just meeting him today, or in the episode, meeting him for the first time, um I like the character because he is a complicated character. He's not mustache twirling, and he is also not so good that you could just smell the aura of goodness coming off of him. He's something else, and that makes me interested in the character. In let's see, he takes everybody aback, to include Saru. Saru was like, I could see the frustration building, but at the same time, he's still trying to remain diplomatic. There was a lot of his interactions with the others that says he don't play well, but he knows his shit, and you have to respect that. Gosh, Dreamwalker, that was my question. Why can't the computer AI, with all of these years of history that it has uh, downloaded into the ship, why can't the ship figure out the DMA? You would think, and her name is Zora, you would think that it would be possible. Reinhardt said, I didn't question Tarka until he talked with Book. I'm going to tell you where my first question of him was in just a minute, if I remember. uh, Reinhardt said, Clarence and Dreamwalker, you guys love things about science, mathematics. You guys have to watch The Foundation. Just watch the first episode, and I think you both will be hooked. I'm so sorry for coughing in you guys' ear. Um, so yeah, Saru was cautious with Tarka or Ruan Tarka, and Stamets began to began to feel a little bit better about him after the whole mashed potatoes uh, model, when he made the mashed potatoes and he put the P in the middle. The simplistic way that Ruan Tarka explained the DMA, I think that it impressed Stamets because Stamets goes the long way. He talks about things in the most scientific terms, and Ruan Tarka just put it in words that a kindergartner could understand. So when he screamed in Saru's face, I was like, "Oh, what the hell is wrong with this dude?" But I guess he was just doing, like, it was like a kind of a team building exercise. I want everybody to loosen up, get it all the tension out, loosen up, and now let's get into this solving this DMA anomaly. And one of the ways that he wanted to solve it is by building a wormhole right there on Discovery. And that's a scary prospect. Made me think of CERN, where a lot of people say that that there are scientists who are building this wormhole in the place. I think the name of it is CERN. And eventually we're all going to, they're not building a wormhole, they're building a black hole, an artificial black hole. They're like, if that thing goes awry, the entire planet can get sucked into it. And I'm like, wow. Now don't ask me to explain that anymore. But that is what I understood about CERN. uh, yeah, Dreamwalker, you're right. The mashed potatoes and P is the new pencil through a folded sheet of paper. Exactly. Exactly. Um, so yeah, when Saru did scream back in Ruan Tarka's face, you saw Reno was like, well, that's interesting. She was very, I'm liking her more. And again, I like when she's not like intentionally trying to be funny, but she comes across very funny. Uh that's the word I was looking for, Dreamwalker. Particle accelerator. He said there's a few of those particle accelerators in the world. I'm not qualified to say what risks they pose. I'm not qualified either, but I just told you what the conspiracy theories are, because I don't understand. I don't understand. Claire said, I love that Stamets was questionable until he noticed the math worked out. Yep. he did. He had to have uh, evidence. I guess it was not. It wasn't just I'm gonna take you at your word. He needed to see the math, the science behind it, and that is just like Stamets, right? We also learned that our our ship's counselor. We learned finally what is going through his mind. Now we know that he's overworking himself and that he is running away from his own trauma. He's helping other people with their trauma, but he's running away from his own trauma. I am so glad that we returned to the storyline because I'm like, okay, that ain't some shit that happens and we just get over it. You died and came back. You didn't just die. You died trying to help somebody. Um, and now you come back and that is still what you're expected to do. It's almost like I would be wondering if somebody else could snap in that same way and end me again. And this time that there is no coming back. Or now that he's back, just like Kovic said, why am I back? And while we're on Kovic, while I love it when he shows up, I still want to know what he does. And like last week when he showed up, he was very nice and uh, accommodating to Tilly. And then he comes in here with Cobra, like, I do not have time for your bullshit. I got 8 minutes to give you to talk this through. And it turns out 8 minutes was all it took. I'm wondering if Kovic is a counselor. What is Kovic? We went over this last year. I had my theories. My theories shot out the window because he's arrived this season somewhat different, but still enigmatic. So yeah, I liked the situation and how these two uh basically very bluntly talked to one another, and Kovic very bluntly told him, you need to get your shit together. If you need to take a break, you need to take a break. You don't need me to give you permission to take a break. I'm going to get my 2 o'clock appointment. Peace. uh Dreamwalker said they're putting the second spore drive on the new Voyager ship, right? Wonder if that will show up and save the day in some future episode. I don't know. I don't remember what ship they're putting it in. If you say it was the Voyager ship, I'm gonna have to roll with that because I don't remember. Okay, so yeah, all that science going on down there. We got Discovery jumping to evacuate that small non-Federation colony, and it's located right in the anomaly's path. And they've got this small window of time, and they can't use. Let me see. Oh, they've got a small window of time before the transporters will not be of any use to them. Something like 4 hours. So they're called the Akali. The Radvec chain is the colony, and it has the Akali species, and that's like that species was featured in Enterprise, and they were like pre-warp back then. So now we see them; they are warp capable, obviously now, and Discovery has been tasked with getting everybody uh, off of this asteroid. There are over 1,200 people. They sent a couple of other ships out there to assist. But again, we got Book saying he wants to go. Book always want to go. Book is like a 3-year-old when they see their mama putting her coat on and they run and get their coat too. Book always want to go. Okay, but I'm glad Book went. But he always wants to go. He always going to get his coat. So it's got 3.5 hours to rescue these 1,200 people. Burnham, Book, and Reese go down on the asteroid. It pissed me off. And I'm going to tell you why. Here was an opportunity. Here was an opportunity to put Reese as the main part of this away mission. But instead, we just get him just drop this again, some exposition. Hey, my family was evacuated from the path of a hurricane by the Federation. So now I'm paying it forward. Okay, I'm gonna go way over here on the other side of the planet while you two work on getting the prisoners. Oh, I didn't mention that there were prisoners on this colony. There were 6 prisoners, I believe, and those 6 prisoners were going to be left behind because this guy, the colony guy, he's the leader. He's an asshole. He was gonna lead them people down there to die. I have a problem with that. I also like the message that we were getting from that, like nobody's life is expendable. How you have people locked up for years and years and years for a crime that is petty. They're spending the rest of their life, kind of like what we see happening in our world. So it was another one of those very, very subtle social commentaries that we can sometimes see in Trek. I dug it. This time it didn't seem like it was heavy handed, very subtle. You have to almost be thinking along those lines before you realize that you just got a message. So yeah, it was just some exposition with Reese. We should have seen him working alongside them to get these people off of this rock. But instead, he just disappears, and we don't get to see much of him again. Again, we learned a little bit more about his character and where he's from, but it wasn't, it was just like, we're gonna just drop this in here. They've been asking about Reese. Let's just tell them a little snippet about him. One at a time, we're learning little tidbits about the rest of the bridge crew, and there is so much story that can be told there. So I have a feeling we'll get to the story. That we'll get to some more of what these characters represent besides the Federation. Um, let's see. Dreamwalker said, "Cool. I didn't remember it came from Enterprise. Did they have those family tree spheres then too? I don't know. I don't remember. Don't remember the family tree sphere." and poor Reese. Yeah, that's what I said. Poor Reese. Um, Clarence said, agreed. Either Burnham or Book could have sat this mission out. And I think I mean, of course, once we got down there, we realized, okay, you're gonna need Burnham for her for what she knew how to get around those landmines. But Book, he just want to go too much. And every time he goes, he come back with an attitude. I know this man has been through something. I understand grief. But damn, stop being a baby, Book. Stop being a baby. We're gonna get to where I started to feel like I'm like, Book, we're gonna have to break up. It's not you, it's me. Shoot. Dreamwalker said, good pro Federation episode. Hope the president isn't displeased with Michael. Reinhardt said, got to say Michael stay on the ship sometime. Let Reese and I don't know how to spell her name. Owo. We just call her that. Put them away, going on away missions, and Michael, sit your butt in the chair. Dreamwalker said, Book doesn't hesitate to book a trip. Booking a ticket out of wherever he is. Yeah, Book kind of gets on my nerves sometimes, and we're gonna get to it. I'm not gonna rush it. We're gonna get to it. Anyhow, so we saw that the 6 prisoners were left behind by the colony's leadership. They are called the examples. They say, hey, putting these people in jail and keeping them there forever and ever and ever, oh, it helps keep other people from committing crimes. And man, social commentary message. Captain Burnham, Book, they say we gotta everybody, nobody's life is expendable. We gotta rescue them. So they go down there. to the facility. They have hijinks. They talk about their past exploits that they got into before rejoining the Federation, Starfleet, and the Federation. And yeah, I liked that little flirty conversation that they had. It probably wasn't the right time, but when you live your life on the edge and it's every day you are facing death, I guess there is no wrong time to get a little flirty with your boo. So yeah, those mobile landmines, uh, Michael was able to dispatch of them rather quickly, but because they were introduced, we had to know that they were going to come back at some other point in this episode, and I was glad that they were able to use them to their benefit, I guess. So now they meet up with the prisoners, and the prisoners are like, "Hey, we ain't going with you. You can let the gates down. Let them down. Let the gates down. Okay, now we ain't going with you because I'm not going someplace to be locked up forever for some petty shit. Now I can understand I have to pay a price for my crime. Kind of made me think of a story that Lysandra told me about a young man, and I know this is off the subject, about a young man who had uh, gotten in an accident in his semi, and he killed I guess about 4 or 5 people. I didn't look into it no further. Hopefully she's still here where she could tell me how many people were killed. But anywho, he had already told the company that he works for that the brakes were going out in this truck. As it turns out, the brakes failed and he hit these people and killed them. So they're saying basically he went to trial. He, for this accident, his company forced him to drive this truck. This young man, I think she said is 25, 26 years old, got 111 years in prison. Over 100 years. Over 100 years. And I'm like, I'm not saying it's petty. Those people were killed. You do have to pay a price. It wasn't done intentionally, though. Excuse me. And I can't get over it. But this is like that. These people did these petty crimes and they were put in prison to rot. Now there was one person who felt or whose crime was a serious crime. And he spoke on behalf, he negotiated on behalf of the fellow prisoners. We need to make sure that these prisoners get asylum from the Federation. They agreed, we're going to give you asylum. And then he decided that he was going to stay on that rock and just face the consequences of either dying in prison or dying on that rock or dying when the DMA hit. Either way, he wanted to die there. I'm sorry. My throat is just it's a lot of talking been going on lately. Okay. Um so Felix, again, he admitted that he had taken a life. He robbed a man who had showed him a hospitality, and he killed him. So after he killed him, he said that he also, he stole these things. He had stolen that relic, that family heirloom that Dreamwalker was talking about, the family tree spear. He stole that. Didn't realize that he had basically taken away this family's past and future, all at one in one fell swoop. So yeah, he felt like he needed to die there. I'm gonna pick up some comments because I've Reiner said this episode has some strong similarities to the TNG episode, The Hunted. It was the episode where they found out these people were genetically enhanced to fight a war. Once the war was over, the general uh, had them locked up in prison. And by the way, James Cromwell was the leader of that colony, I believe. Clarence said, by not including them in the evacuation, it was a death sentence. In the Picard prequel comics, he had a similar fight with the Romulans. Exactly. I mean, in either way, like they were going to die in prison. They was going to leave them there and just keep them locked up forever as examples, or he was going to basically, like you say, put them to death by leaving them in the path of this anomaly. Lysandra was okay. 4 people were killed in that incident that I was talking about with the semi. Um, Claire said, I think Boston suspended petty crimes prosecution during the pandemic. And I mean, if we're talking about petty crimes, yes, come on, y'all. But I agree. I mean, I agree with the message that this episode was sending. And if Boston did that, kudos to them, because that should have been done. It should have been done nationally for petty shit. Dreamwalker said, technically they didn't know it would be death. Clarence, still a coin flip. Not supporting their actions, just making a distinction. And I get it too. Like, yeah, but either way, the people were going to die in prison. They were going to die locked up. And for the crimes that was said that the people committed, that's ridiculous. But let's move on. Yeah. So yeah, Felix wants to pay penance. This dude, I think is what's his name, Michael Gray Eyes. Man, he played the shit out of this. I really did feel for him and his character and the resolve that he had, that he was going to absolve himself. He needed absolution. He wanted to absolve himself, and the only way that he could see doing that is by dying, uh, dying, just like he killed that man. Okay, so we are going to move on. Now we're back. We're back in the lab. Tarka carrying out his plan to construct this small scale model of the DMA. And the device that he thought was in the middle is really the big thing. Well, I guess it's the small thing, but it's the small thing that makes the big thing, if you get what I'm saying. So you're going to create this wormhole on the ship. Stamets is very, very excited to construct this thing, and they're talking about building this containment field around it, and everything will be safe, but Saru is still hesitant. I'm surprised Saru let this thing go on as long as he did. I'm surprised that he did. Now, here is where I said, I felt some type of way about Tarka or Ruan Tarka, because did anybody else notice that when it was time to keep adding power to it, that he wanted Stamets to do it? He didn't want to be the one touching it. And I'm wondering, like, why? Why did he not want to be the person? Did he get them all hyped up to build this wormhole in the hull of Discovery? Did he get them hyped up to do it? And then if something went wrong, he didn't want to be the one touching it. He wanted it to be Stamets. Am I getting that? Or did anybody else get that feeling? And then every time they would turn it up, he would like, oh, just give it a little more power. And Stamets is just gung ho turning it up because Tarka is asking him to. And in reality, it just felt so sinister to me. Why are you having him do it? And then you have Reno. She's back here. I guess a little part of her is saying, well, shoot, I want to see where this thing can go too. So now she's on board. Of course, if she had not included this kill switch on this whole situation, Saru would not have been able to shut it down. And we had gotten dangerously close, 5% before the containment field was going to collapse. And now you got this wormhole on the other side or on the inside of Discovery. So let me see what your comments say. Dreamwalker said, I don't think so. He probably would trust himself more than anyone else to not blow up the ship. But Stamets did not volunteer to do this thing. Tarka volunteered him. He said, you do the honors. Stamets didn't want to do it. Tarka said, you do the honors. And then he kept telling him to turn it up. He never turned it up himself. He never touched it. It was like he just wanted to be standing back from it. He was telling them how far to go, but he didn't want to be directly involved. I could be reading it all wrong, and it just was weird to me. It was just weird. You agree with me in a way then. Said Tarka seemed to be playing Stamets like a drum in that moment, in my opinion. He knew Stamets' curiosity would get the better of him. I agree. Uh, I don't know, Mr. Reinhardt, what that mean. You all have to excuse me, but if I was to rule out of slap the hell out of stamina, yeah, I would have thought Tarka would have, if anything, this is your research, this is your project, everything was you, but you want to distance yourself from the point of turning this thing up. Something ain't right about that to me. Reinhardt said Tarka acted like a pyromaniac in that moment, like he was just in love with the danger. Right. And again, I'm surprised Saru let that thing go on as long as he did. Like I said before, I thought that Saru would have been more cautious. Even though he did shut it down, when he shut it down, now they know that they can build it. And the next time they put this shit together, there might not be a voice of reason around. Because like Clarence said, he knows that Stamets is super enthusiastic. So I got him. And Grumpy Lady, as he called her, she may or may not be the person that is assisting them the next time. So it was just, yeah, I feel like he's got some type of sinister motive, but at the same time, is it telegraphed so much that it might not be? I'm going to keep my eye on Tarka. And again, this one of the things that I really loved about this character. He is a hard read. And Dreamwalker said if Michael were watching it, she'd probably wait for the 1% shield. And it's like, to me, it's I guess a mixed bag of what she would have done, because part of me says, yeah, she would have waited to the absolute last minute. But another part of me says that because she feels like she is supposed to save everybody, she's everybody's savior, she might have shut it down sooner, because as long as she's the one that is making that decision, that's making the big play. Because while I love the character of Michael Burnham, that is a flaw in her character. A lot of people look at it as a strength. It's a flaw in her character that she always has to be the savior, the archangel Michael. Dreamwalker said Grumpy Lady needs to lie and just fudge the shield percentages displayed. Yeah, make them think that they had less than what they really had so that they shut this thing down. Yeah. Because that was a scary moment, because I was like, what the heck? I mean, how? And the fact that he knows how to do this, to build this machine, it makes me suspicious of him. And the fact that it makes me suspicious of him makes me think to myself, okay, one, I could be so suspicious of him because he really is up to something, or I could be so suspicious of him because that's the way the writers want us to feel about him, you know. Um, Now, at the end of this day, let's stop for a second. They get these prisoners off the planet, right? And Book is upset that they agreed to do what Felix wants and leave him down on that planet. So now he got an attitude. But you were standing there, Book. You were standing there, and this man said he understood all the risks. This was his decision, the decision that he wanted to die like this. He wanted to pay that price for his crime. Book is so upset that he starts catching attitude with Michael. This is wrong. Your objections are noted, Book. I get it. You feel like it's wrong. You don't want to leave anybody because you felt some type of way about what happened on your planet. This right here ain't your planet. This is something entirely different. So let this man go out the way he wanted to go out. And he didn't want to hide what he had done anymore. So he absolved himself with the crew of the Discovery. I was okay with it. And when he met up with Tarka in 10, what we gonna call it, 10 forward at Quarks, when he met up with him, it seems like he recognizes something in Ruan Tarka. Ruan Tarka, of course, is a Ryzian from the Pleasure Planet. He feels like they were just a bunch of idiots on that planet. He, more scientific minded, he ends up moving around. You can see from the thing on the back of his neck that he had once been enslaved by the Orions. So there's that. That's something else that he has in common with Book. But Book seems to recognize something about this man that he don't particularly like, even though he's still drunk out of his flask, which I probably would not have done. But of course, they don't have to worry about COVID. But yeah, Book is like, of course, Book is not always he ain't always chatty. He ain't trying to sit around and hold conversations. And right now he got an attitude. So he is really, really in his feelings. But he understands something is not right about Tarka. He's like, pretty much like, what do you got to hide? He knows this man got something to hide. So yeah, what is he hiding is the question. What is he hiding? And it brings me back to the ways in which Dreamwalker's theory could be correct. He might be building the other side of the wormhole. I don't know. You guys let me know what you guys think. Reinhardt said he believes that Michael would have shut down that project. And it just depends on which Michael shows up that day. Yeah. She's more assertive, Dreamwalker says. And Saru was probably worried Tarka outclasses him. But then, I mean, we find, and I don't know if you guys look at it like that, it doesn't seem like Saru has the least little tiny bit of ego in him anymore. He doesn't have an ego. He if he did, he would have came in and took a captaincy instead of being the first officer on Discovery. So that's why I say I don't think he worried about this dude. I don't think he worried about him. But this guy is trying to make everybody at ease around him, and it's people like that who go far and beyond trying to make people feel at ease around them a little bit. When you're doing too much. When you start doing too much, I start to question you. He said, "Oh yeah, we might be right that Michael would have stopped it. She might have, depending on which Michael showed up for the day. She might have." But yeah, I'm wondering, because Book is so empathic, I'm wondering if he getting a vibe from Tarka that he just don't like. And then in like the look on Sonequa Martin Green's face says it all. And I always say I'm always in awe of what she can do with just her facial expressions. Because what she said to him in that moment, when she was talking to the leader of that colony, what she said to him in that moment is exactly what her face is saying right now. Her face was saying, "Oh, you the leader of the colony, that one that just blew up, that no longer exists? Yeah, you are under Federation jurisdiction now, and you are a refugee. You better hope." You better hope that wherever you go and find refuge, that they create a better society than the one you had hand in creating. Now get off my bridge. I got a ship to command. Man, her face said it all. Really love Sonequa Martin Green and the way that she emotes. I don't know. Um, so we got those pictures of those ships. I mean, I want to call it the U.S.S. I mean the NS. Gosh, the NSS, whatever the name of the ship was. Their Navarian ship. Oh, Tapau. Yeah, the NSS Tapau. So these ships are beautiful to me, just beautiful, and the fact that they went back and grabbed another original series character and named a ship after her. I was very pleased with that. Now, Book, look at his little face. Book said, "This is not Federation. This is not Federation issue. This is my phaser. I never seen one like that. But of course, it's a civilian phaser, so it looks dope." And then, last but not least, when we were in the elevator and Zora recognizes from the inflections in Burnham's voice that she needed consolation, and Zora then got a little bit too smart. Now we didn't get to see them building on the fact that she was starting to get this personality to the point where she is starting to feel emotions. Burnham is very surprised by that. And as I guess as all of us should be, we should all be a little shocked um, when the ship starts to become this sentient. I love it because it just inches us closer to what the heck Calypso meant. And that's been my big thing. Like, I really want to know what the meaning of Calypso was. I'm excited to see whenever they wrap that whole storyline up. I'm excited, but they still are laying the breadcrumbs for us to keep it on your mind. Zora's still here. She's getting close to being an emotional, sentient being ship, and we will get some payoff on that Calypso episode of the short treks. I'm here for it. I guess you guys can see because I always forget uh, to give my ratings. That's 5 stars. I don't usually give these things 5 stars, but I love this episode. The parts, of course, there were those things that I nitpick. You guys know I can do that very well. But overall, I thought this was a pretty good episode. I really liked the Ruan Tarka character, and I saw out of the corner of my eye Clarence saying that Zora might be a problem. So while I am being apprehensive about Ruan Tarka, we may need to have a little apprehension about Zora as well moving forward. Let me see what Reinhardt's theory is right here. Tarka is one of the Kelvins from the Andromeda Galaxy and has taken human form. Remember that episode from the original series by any other name, Garrett, and add the little devices that can turn you into those little cubes. I remember the episode, and that you get turned into the cube. There's something, this is a little nuance in here I'm missing though. This Garrett. I'm I remember that though. Yeah, that Clarence was saying that she might be a problem. Reinhardt also says, when it comes to Zora, I think we are very close to seeing the episode from Short Treks. Dreamwalker said, I never thought it would take so long to reach the Calypso episode. Yes. Whoa, you said a 5-star. Yeah, I don't normally do that. But I really did like this episode. I don't know if I was just feeling really good this week or what, but this episode really resonated with me. I watched it multiple times, and usually I watch it multiple times because I have to, so I might skip this and move through that. I watched this episode multiple times because I wanted to, and that was different. Reinhardt said, isn't it awesome how they're doing the standalone episodes? I really like that 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 are started to, that are still part of the overall narrative for the seasons. Yeah, because again, there's the segments of this episode that could stand alone, and we needed it. We need to this if you're gonna keep it. We're gonna make a year a season long arc. Then we need to at least pull away for a second. I would like to see this crew eventually have fun, eventually. So we'll see. And that is my that's my what you call it, my things for Star Trek Discovery. I'm glad you guys were giving me thoughts as we were moving through here. It gives me things to think about as we move forward. But I tell you, Dreamwalker, I don't know. Your theory is looking good to me still so far. I still think that that this could be a thing that happens. That somebody on a Dreamwalker said, did Gray exist in this episode? I don't know. Nope, Gray did not exist. Did we even see a Dira? I don't even think we saw a Dira. So that Colbert and Stamets need to do a better job. Now that this Gray has a physical body, I'm gonna say that Colbert and Stamets need to do a better job of making sure that they know where them kids at. They could be on a holodeck somewhere getting into all kinds of trouble. Even of course you don't have to worry about it, but it's like you don't want them to get too advanced in their relationships, their situations, because they're still young. You gotta rein them in a little bit. Y'all adopted these kids and just like letting them out do what they want. No, that's not what we do. So yeah, Gray didn't exist in this episode, and we didn't need him, right? If he wasn't going to add anything to the situation, then one thing that Angus, I believe it was Angus Osano, yeah, he was, when I was like, what are they gonna do with Gray? Because I'm getting a little tired of Gray not having nothing to do. He reminded me that Gray is a Soon type android now. So Gray is essentially the muscle on this ship. I didn't think about it. I didn't it didn't occur to me that that is a way that Gray can contribute to the ship. So now Gray is a Soon type android. Right, Dreamwalker. They don't even need a formal holodeck. They have made ordinary rooms into holodecks, which is even more frightening. It's even more frightening to me. So yeah, that's it. That's all. He said Cobra and Stamets said we got our own problems to worry about. Look, if them kids can't work it out, look, you've been knighted now. You are no longer children. Shoot, you're grown. Yes, said Dreamwalker said you hadn't considered the fact that yes, Gray is super strong now, I guess. Reinhardt said, "Hey, I did like the little bit of Gray that we got wasn't much. I don't. What? When did we even see him? I don't even remember. I don't remember seeing him at all in this episode. I could have seen him and just forgot, but I don't remember." Dreamwalker said, "Gray the Brute, who plays music, a musical brute." So yeah, I guess before we move on to our last segment, which is the Wheel of Time, y'all want to play a couple of little rounds, play a couple of rounds of this Jeopardy game. Now, I don't know who was here from yesterday. We're going to be playing the same game though, but at this point, I feel like anybody can win because you still got a couple of big we got a couple of big categories still on the board. No, not big um the high wagers. We still got the high wagers still on the board. Um Yesterday we ended with Reinhardt being in the lead. He's got 800 points. Lysandra and Dee were tied at 400 points apiece. So yeah, I can let me go ahead and put 5 teams. Okay, so the way we've been doing Jeopardy is just like they do Jeopardy on TV. Reinhardt is in control of the board because he's in the lead. So he'll be able to pick his category. You pick your category, you'll see the answer. You have to answer in the form of a question. I'm giving you guys 30 seconds to log in your answers. After the 30-second timer goes off, whoever's the first answer is going to be the answer that I take. If that answer is wrong, somebody else can hurry and guess. And when you guess and you get an answer correct, I want you to just come back to me with what category you want to go to next and how much you want to wager. But we don't have a lot still on the board, but anybody can really win in Black media trivia. So, with that being said, Reinhardt says hip hop hooray for 300. Let's go. And yeah, you got me. This artist is behind the 2013 hit Thrift Shop. Reinhardt said, "Who is Macklemore?" That is correct. For 300 points. So now Reinhardt is up to 1100. Lysandra and Dee still have 400. And anybody else who gets in can get in. You can still win. This thing is still definitely still attainable. Reinhardt, Give me your next category in your wager. We got action movies, hip hop hooray, Academy Awards, and television. Action movies, hip hop hooray, music. No, not music divas. That's gone. Academy Awards and television. Got television for 200. He was the original host of Soul Train. Who is Don Cornelius? Now it's starting to get away from y'all. Clarence, you can guess. You can get in the game. That was a layup, but it was only for 200 points. So those are easier most of the time anyway. Action movies, hip hop hooray, Academy Awards. We got one left in television. Where you going, Reinhardt? Oh, my back. Action movies for 500. This actor is known as the first Black action hero. This actor is known as the first Black action hero. Nobody had a guess for that one, huh? That is Richard Roundtree. Richard Roundtree. So we still have 100 on the board. You said 100 on the board for action movies. We still have Hip Hop Hooray. We have all of the Academy Awards and television. We also have for 100. What's it gonna be, Reinhardt? What's it gonna be? TV for 100. You talk about layups. This is a real layup. I remember the question. On the TV show Martin Payne worked at this radio station. Uh-oh. No answer? How do you guys not know this one? Correct answer was "What's up?" WZUP. Y'all don't remember that? Clarence, what you talking about? You don't know Jeopardy. You the one that suggested this to me. I would have even known this game existed if you didn't tell me to look into it. Reinhardt, you got another selection? If not, I'm gonna move on to the next TV show. No, Lysandra. Anybody can answer the question. Yeah. So, okay, let me go over these rules again. It's the same rules as Jeopardy. Wait a minute, Reinhardt, because they are unclear. They're unclear of what these rules are anyway. So he can he picks the he picks the topic. He makes the wager. But once the question is live, it's live for anybody. Anybody can answer it. If you don't answer it, if nobody answers it in the 30 seconds, that question is gone. Then we go to the next question. If you answer the question wrong, you lose points. If you answer the question right, you get the points that were associated with the round, and then you control the board. So I'm going to give you guys an opportunity because Reinhardt said he so yeah, he said he was talking about going on to the next TV show, but just to give you guys an opportunity to get in the game, even though you got probably some harder questions, especially the Academy Awards. They're not that hard though. I'll give you guys an opportunity to get into the game because if you didn't know what the rules were, then that makes it a little bit harder. Okay, so I'm writing down a number. Lysandra, Dreamwalker, and Clarence. It's a number between 1 and 10. Pick a number, and then whoever gets closest to what I've written down here is going to be in control of the board. So pick a number between 1 and 10, and we'll get some more of these questions off the board. And just put your number in the chat when you got it. I don't know if Lysandra is out there, but Dreamwalker guessed my number. It was 6. So Dreamwalker, you are in control of the board for either action movies, hip hop hooray, or Academy Awards. And to be quite honest, if somebody can run the board, you'll win the game. So where do you want to go, Dreamwalker? Action movies for 100? Okay. This British actor has played in Attack the Block and in the latest Star Wars trilogy. Remember, these are black actors. This British actor has played in Attack the Block and in the latest Star Wars trilogy. Clarence has chimed in. Who is John Boyega? That is correct. Who is John Boyega for? That was $100 going to Clarence. I only got to push the C in. Lysandra, you just now hearing this thing about you just now hearing me say that about the numbers? Because Dreamwalker had already selected my number and selected the next category. Okay, Clarence. We got Hip Hop Hooray and Academy Awards. That's all that's left. You know what? It's the internet. Yes, the internet is people's internet is getting real slow here lately. But Academy Awards for 300 clearance. This category has produced the most Black nominees in Oscar history. This category has produced the most Black nominees in Oscar history. Ooh, Dreamwalker. You said what is best supporting actor? No. That one is what is best music, original song? It's always music with us. They gave us awards for our music. So yeah, so now that one is off. Let's see. So it's still on you, Clarence. You still have control of the board. Oh, Dreamwalker said he saw John Boyega once. Academy Awards for 200. Cicely Tyson and Paul Winfield both earned Oscar nominations for this 1972 film. Got no guesses for this one either. Cicely Tyson and Paul Winfield both earned Oscar nominations for Sounder, one of my favorite books. It's my favorite book, but I don't even remember. Dang, I don't know if you came in after Clarence. I don't know if you came in after I already said it or what. You did get it right. I'm gonna go ahead and award the point. We got you was late. Okay. Well, you're very honest too. 100. Hard Out Here for a Pimp won the Best Original Song Oscar for this movie. How do y'all know? Now y'all got to know this one. Y'all have to know this answer. What is Hustle and Flow? What is Hustle and Flow? But you guys are being conservative and you're not losing a bunch of points either. So there's that. We only got 4 more. Let me see, 9, 11, 12. Actually, Clarence, if you run the board, you still could win, and Lysandra could win in a resounding fashion. So Clarence is hip hop hooray for 100. Finish this line. Hi, my name is what? My name is who? My name is Chicka Chicka. What's next? So Clarence said, who is Slim Shady? That is correct for the point. Who is Slim Shady? No, Lysandra, I'm gonna have to go back like we were talking yesterday about internet speeds. Like I don't know who has a slow internet speed, but I'm saying the question and I'm letting 30 seconds go by. So you guys see me letting the 30 seconds go by. So you have until after you see that 30 seconds go by to answer the question. Whenever you see it, I don't know because my speed might be a little bit slower, a little bit faster than y'all's. Uh, Clarence wants to finish the category of hip hop hooray for 200. If you're in the club with Curtis Jackson, you drink this like it was your birthday. If you're in the club with Curtis Jackson, you drink this like it was your birthday. Ooh, Clarence, you got me in a conundrum because you're right. He was like, you can find me in the club, bottle filled, but it was go, shorty. It's your birthday. You're gonna party like it's your birthday. We're gonna sip a cardi like it's your birthday. So Hillbilly said gin. No, it was Bacardi, but I'm going to accept a bottle full of Bub because he did say that. And I just forgot that it was two different kinds of drinks mentioned. So yeah, you get the point. You get the point. You got two more categories. Uh, you got Academy Awards, and you got Academy Awards for 400 and 500. Academy Awards for 400, Academy Awards for 500. He said 400. The only Black actor to receive two acting nominations in the same year. This is the only Black actor to receive two acting nominations in the same year. Nobody? The answer is, who is Jamie Foxx? Who is Jamie Foxx? And then, like, you would think it would have been Morgan Freeman, but nope, it was Jamie Foxx, Hillbilly. Last question. It's only one more on the board. And it's not going to put the only way that anybody besides Reinhardt can win is if Reinhardt decides to jump in this game, even if he answers it wrong. So the game is pretty much over. So we're going to just look at this last category. Ruth Carter has received Oscar nominations for Best Costume Design in these 3 films. So that was going to be a tough one. And it was for 500. And it is Malcolm X, Amistad, and Black Panther. So in the inaugural game of Black Media Jeopardy, we got a winner, and our winner is Mr. Reinhardt. And I don't know if he's eaten or if he's still with us, but Reinhardt, if you want to provide me with your address, I will send you out your stickers. How about that? You can send it to my inbox on Twitter, where you usually contact me, or on Facebook, or to my email address, whichever one you want to do. But yeah, let's move back into that was fun. I'm sorry, you guys. That was fun. And next time, I guess everybody, I guess we got to think of a way, because there is a difference in internet speeds. And I don't want anybody to be left out because of the speed of our internet is different. Because I'm like asking y'all questions, and then it's like taking 30 or 40 seconds between after I've let the timer go before I'm seeing any answers. So yeah. Let me go back. Now we got to talk about the Wheel of Time. And man, Wheel of Time was freaking fantastic this week. I don't know if anybody else felt as strongly as I did. Man, that was freaking fantastic. Had a lot of questions answered, and it opened up a few more questions for me. The name of this episode was The Dark Along the Ways. Moiraine and her charges are see you later, Dreamwalker. Moiraine and her charges are diverted from their path by an unexpected encounter, revealing Moraine's true goal, Lan's past, the fractures that have grown in the group, and the identity of the Dragon Reborn. And man, we talk about what a freaking way to open an episode. You got this pregnant lady. We see that she is fair complexion and redheaded. So I felt like, yes, this gotta be his mama. It just gotta be his mama. But man, when I tell you, she was putting people on their backs while she was holding this baby in somehow. I don't know how you do that. I've only had one child, and let me tell you, holding it in wasn't an option. Biology just happens, and you're going to push. So that took some strength in and of itself for this lady to have this whole battle while she's holding back from having her baby. Gosh, she killed it. I thought this was freaking gorgeous. Might have went on for a little long, but it was okay. I was like, yeah, this is beautiful. And then we see the final obstacle between her and having her child. She finds herself at the end of a sword, but she finds herself with somebody who has mercy and allows her to finish having this baby, holds her hand while she's pushing the baby out, and then she passes away. This warrior took the child and her sword to pass on to her. It was freaking, the opening scene was just freaking beautiful. I mean, it was beautiful in a gruesome and gory way. It was beautiful. Then we gotta wonder, like, what's gonna happen with this dude? Now, as I was like kind of digging, and I shouldn't have been digging, but I didn't tell everybody. I know I told Lysandra that I had already spoiled myself some episodes ago, freaking reading something and not realizing that it was loaded with spoilers for what happened in the book. Now, I did refrain from sharing what I learned. But one thing that I've learned that I don't think is spoiling much at all is that this character, um, Barney Harris has decided that he is they parted ways. He's not going to be in the next season. Somebody, and it's not that we're going to kill Matt off. They've recast Matt. So now Matt is going to be played by somebody from, I think it was the Game of Thrones. A Game of Thrones actor is going to be playing Matt next season. But it's like, okay, what do we do with him now? Right? A lot of fighting going on between the two rivers people. Of course, we know Matt stayed behind, but the infighting has been because of Matt's decision. Some people wanted to go back with him. Some people never thought that he was made of the right stuff anyway. And Moiraine was like, you know what? If he is the Dragon Reborn, we need to keep him as far away from the Dark One as possible because he's a freaking coward. And you know what? I am inclined to agree. I did not like the way Matt abandoned his friends because, you know, you would think, oh, they abandoned him. No, he abandoned his friends at a point in this situation where they're going to the eye of the world and they're going to face the Dark One. And he could have been the Dragon Reborn and decided he wasn't going to go. Punk. Lysandra is saying that the mommy did her thing. Yes, she did. She protected her baby all the way to the end. And it was simply amazing. And she was taking names and putting them down. And she was putting them down. It just made me realize that the women in this world are the warriors. Not saying that the men aren't, because we see them being warriors as well, but the women are so strong in the worlds of Wheel of Time. Now, we moving on. Gosh, we're going through the way gate, and the Makin Shin, which is that black wind that they were talking about that kills people or drives them crazy. Nynaeve accidentally triggered the Makin Shin to come out by using, she tapped into the one power while they're walking through the way gate. They're not supposed to do that. That rule had already been established. She accidentally tapped into her power when they see a freaking Trolloc. They see a Trolloc roaming about inside of this way gate, and they're not supposed to be there. So the fight ensues, and then she uses just an absurd amount of power. You're right, Clarence, because the stuff looks a whole lot better in this episode. It was dope. But when she went into using her special, not her, she don't praise dance. She boogie. Hey, Hillbilly, I saw him. Patton Fane has been around, and I've been pointing it out. He was at that processional when they were bringing the fake dragon through the streets, going up to the tower. I mean the White Tower. They were he was there, and then we saw him again when Perrin said, "I thought I saw Patton Fane," and she's like, "Oh no, he's dead." No, because we saw Patton Fane a third time in the flipping Waygate. I'm wondering what we're going to learn about this character, because I'm super excited to see how he ties into things if he is a dark friend, because that's the way it's starting to look to me, that he is just like Dana was from I believe that was episode 3. He is a dark friend. But we're gonna learn. I guess maybe next week we'll get it all together, huh? So yeah, we find out though when the Makin Shin attacks, that we find out what everybody's thinking, what their worst fears are, And some of it wasn't expected. Some of it was just as we expected, and some of it was nowhere near what we expected uh, to find out that is on these characters' minds. Then we get to, I forgot the name of the town. Somebody help me if you remember where Lan is originally from. We found Lord Agomel Jagad sitting on the throne. That's what I'm saying, Hillbilly. How did he survive in there? He was there, though. I think, did you see him too? He was there. So how is he surviving? Is he a dark friend? Does he have some power that we have not, we would definitely not have understood or seen it? And why do they think he's dead? We've seen him at least 3 or 4 times. Uh, we've seen him at least 3 or 4 times since the incident at Two Rivers when the Trollocs attacked. So I'm yeah, I am definitely. I don't understand. So Melchior is the name of the town that Lan is from. These are his people. When I saw them, I, I know this about to sound racist. I'm sorry, y'all. I thought we was about to see some freaking samurai-ish, but that's because my mind automatically goes to samurais as soon as I see Asian people, and that's racist. That's racist. But yeah, he was kind of concerned. Lord Agomel Jagad, he was kind of concerned that the Aes Sedai were there because they were trying to say he wasn't doing a good job uh, guarding these way gates and keeping the Dark One's agents at bay. And of course, if Padden Fane is running around in the way gates, then no, he might not be. And then we saw Trollocs in the way gate. They not supposed to be there. So we also met Min, and she is a seer, and she looks at the Two Rivers kids, and she's like, Moiraine asked her to, and she's like, we try to figure out who the Dragon Reborn is. So her visions for Rand, Egwene, and Nynaeve show big plot points, but all she sees for Perrin is like the golden eyes, and she said that he has blood on his chin. So we still ain't learning an awful lot about Perrin, but we know that Rand obviously is going to have a child at some point. We saw a little bit for each one of these characters, but not Perrin. Not Perrin. I'm still trying to figure out what that means. Just the golden eyes and just the blood on his chin. But anywho, now Moiraine is gonna give them all a pep talk. She's telling them that, hey, I'm gonna need y'all to potentially get killed for us to be able to destroy the Dark One. Somebody is gonna go there, and they're not going to be the Dragon Reborn. And guess what? You're gonna die. But ain't it worth it? And then you get the kids, they start to huff and puff like they're not going to go. They all go their separate ways after an argument because Egwene and Rand got into a fight about Matt. He's like, you never liked him, and this sort of thing. And I'm like, really, dude, you like walk through walls to get to be where she was, and now you really are ready to throw it away for Matt. But anywho, then you find out that Matt and Perrin, that Perrin and Rand are fighting over Egwene. And I called that a few episodes back, like maybe in episode 2. I was like, are they a thing? Or does he like her? Or will they be a thing? Turns out that Nynaeve pointed out, hey, you guys gonna stop fighting over her like she's a piece of property. So everybody in this group, except for Egwene, I guess, realizes that Perrin is in love with her. It's crazy, especially since the reason that we're so interested in what goes on with Perrin is because of the way his wife died. That was crazy. And then everybody goes their own separate ways, except for Nynaeve and Lan. I was really excited. Uh, she followed him to his, I guess, family's home, and met the parents. Sat down and broke bread with them, and then they went back to the room. I guess Lan was like, I'm about to get into these magical guts. And that happened, and I wasn't mad about that. you know Grown people, they decided that they wanted to do this thing. They did that thing. In the meantime, Rand is telling Egwene, hey, when you get to be an Aes Sedai, I want to be your water. And it's like, oh, you want to be my water? Not knowing that things are going to change overnight. Overnight, things are going to change. Oh, okay. See you later, Reinhardt. So, yeah, we got the backstory of Lan. We got to know a little bit more about him, and we see him and Nynaeve start to form their relationship with the blessing of Moiraine. So that was good to me. And then, last but not least, Rand goes back to Min, and he's like, "Tell me what you see." And she tells him things. And then he starts to remember in his mind. So we see what's playing out in his mind. We see the sequence of events throughout the season, but this time we see his powers. And it was like he's touched the one power a lot of times. We just didn't realize that that's what was happening until maybe when Davina pointed out that he was able to knock down that door that was supposed to be able to withstand 3 men his size. I think she said it would take 3 men your size to knock down that door. So then we go in thinking, okay, well, maybe he is just super strong. But it turns out he has got amazing power levels that we just didn't see. We didn't realize that that he was doing the things that was happening in these scenes. So he goes and he tells Moiraine, I am the Dragon Reborn. He pretends like, I guess he knows that he's the Dragon Reborn. That is what I learned earlier in the season when I said I ran into a spoiler that I didn't want to run into, but I also didn't want to share it with you guys because you hadn't watched it yet. But I still think this is a misdirect. I am more inclined than ever to believe that it's going to take all of them, or at least 4 of them, at least 4, because that's who they thought they needed at first. They thought they needed 4 to be, for one of them to be the Dragon Reborn. I think we're going to need all 4 of them to, when our powers combined, defeat the Dark One at the end of the Eye of the World. Now, I'm not saying that I think that this is going to manifest next episode. I honestly believe that the big battle that we're going to see is probably going to have to wait. I don't know why they would introduce all of that and have them win in the first season. But I am very interested to see how they wrap this first season up. What are they going to give us to chew on until next week? Because they got to, until next season, they've got to give us something, and it's got to be something major. And we just got to keep in mind that the rest of the actors are slated to come back. It is only Matt, the actor who played Matt, who has been recast, but we'll still get the character. We just won't get the same actor playing him next season. So those are all the things that I saw in the Wheel of Time. Again, this has been a heck of a week for TV and movies. Hell of a week. I gave the movie that I saw, I gave that 5 stars. And then pretty much these are all, like this one I gave 5 stars as well, this episode. I'll pick up this comment from Hillbilly. This journey is long and filled with wonder. Hillbilly, have you read the books? Is this something that or are you just getting into this franchise with the series the way we are? Because yeah, it is. It's absolutely filled with wonder. And I'm not in a hurry. They don't have to be in a hurry to get to the dark one. I don't have to see that just yet. I do want a satisfactory closing of this movie. I mean, of this season. Why do I keep saying movie? Okay, so you read the book several times. Now I have of course with doing this, I run into the fact that there are a lot of people who feel some type of way about the differences between the books and the movie or in the series. Is that taking you out of the series in any way? Lasandra said, I think it's gonna take all four of them as well, but one is a wolf man. Right. And I don't particularly know what that means. We have been speculating that it could be that meaning that he is a Trolloc. It could be something that has not been revealed yet to us. What could be making him this turn into a wolf, basically? Yeah. What's making him turn into the wolf? Was he said Wolfman coming out soon? Yes, we saw a little bit of Wolfman. We saw a little bit of Wolfman when he was going up against Eamon Valda, who I can't stand. I cannot stand him. I just have to think about how much I dislike this character, but I can't stand him. But yeah, when Eamon Valda was cutting him with the knife, we saw a little bit of that wolf coming out. Hillbilly said no, adapting is difficult. They're doing a great job. Because I don't have the baseline of the books, I thought it was pretty good. But then to read some of the stuff that people are saying who are unhappy with it, I'm like, wow, is it really that bad? But I thought it was good. Alessandra thought it was good as well. She's given this episode a 5. We're sitting here looking at Rand and Moiraine about to enter, I guess, the blight. And I can't wait to see what's beyond the blight. Clarence also said he gave it a 5. He loved it as well. Yeah, this was a fantastic episode. I just wonder how are we going to close this thing out uh, next week? And it's got to leave us wanting more. And I don't want a big stinking reveal that is going to blow it, where they have to get into this fight and defeat, or get into this fight and lose. Whatever the case, I am here for Wheel of Time. This has been one particularly great season, and I'm looking forward to next week. I'm looking forward to next week. Uh, does anybody else have any prognostications about what's going to happen next week? We see that Lysandra is 100% sure that it's going to take all four of them. Well, she ain't 100% sure, but she says she believes it's going to take all four of them, but one of them is a wolf man. And she says she also needs it to come out tomorrow. I am excited for it as well. Uh, yeah, this is going to be another. We're getting a couple of season enders next week, which means we got to get ready to start another round of new series. But next week we get the ending of Hawkeye, we get the ending of the Wheel of Time. I'm super excited for both, but I think for more or less, I think the Wheel of Time has me a little bit more intrigued right now, because I have no idea which way this thing can go. Uh, Hillbilly said, we'll see a Forsaken. I don't know what a Forsaken is, Hillbilly, as far as in the uh in the lore. In the lore of the Wheel of Time. I don't know what a Forsaken is. Clarence said he just along for the ride. he is not trying to predict what's going to happen, I can't help it. I have to try. But if I were to predict, okay, if you can't say yet, don't tell me. I'm glad you're not spoiling anything. Thank you. But if the one thing that I can't wait or that I have to do is speculate, but the only thing that I'm speculating upon about this is that I hope we don't need Matt. I hope it does take a team effort to go on to the next part of this journey, but I hope Matt wasn't supposed to be a part of this thing, because if so, he didn't ruin it for everybody. He's just ruined it for everybody, and I would not like him I would like him even less if what he's done has created an issue where they're not going to be able to face the Dark One and defeat him and all of that. And so that is that for this week's and I never put the thing about the spoilers for the Wheel of Time. Gosh, if y'all see me doing that, if I don't put the spoiler warning for Wheel of Time down there when we start talking, or for any of them, remind me to put it on there, because I'm really not trying to ruin it for somebody who just came in to talk and finds themselves like, it's spoilers everywhere, spoilers, the spoilers all over the place. I didn't want to do that. But yeah, that's it. That's all. I don't have anything else. If you guys don't have anything else, I'm gonna give it a couple seconds. If you guys don't have anything else, I'm gonna close out here today, and we can talk and meet one another here again. I said tomorrow, but I actually was wrong. Thanks, Hillbilly. I might have been wrong, because I forgot that Being the Ricardos is not available just yet to me, which means I can't watch it to do more than a movie tomorrow. I might slide in and do something short, an episode of something, but what I planned to do, I can't do, because I was going to do more than the movie was going to be Being the Ricardos. So if I don't pop in at all tomorrow, please forgive me, because I did forget. But you will see me this week. Like, I'm going to be on, because I took the week of Thanksgiving off, and I was like, what the hell was I thinking? I need all the views and watch time I can get. So this week I am going to be working straight through. I'm going to work straight on through Christmas. The only day I probably take off will be my birthday, which is January 2nd, just in case y'all want to get me a gift. And I hope you guys who I sent the stickers to, I hope you guys got it. I hope Reinhardt is going to send me his information so I can send his out to him. And yeah, I ain't got nothing else. If you don't see me tomorrow, you definitely will see me later on this week, probably Tuesday. With all that, I appreciate you, Clarence, for appreciating me. And of course, Lysandra, I appreciate you for being here with me, being my ace. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. It was fun. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.